I said to let the family know as bath time is... What? I'm trying to record the intro. This is exactly why I just said, I'm sorry to stop Kung Fu fighting. Sing along. Thank you so much, Jody. All right. Here's the thing. Trashboat are going to release their fourth... I'm doing this and I'm not editing it. Okay? People might think I'm crazy, but I'm pretty sure you come through the mic from upstairs. Trashboat released their fourth record, Heaven Can Wait, on October the 4th. Today, this morning, many hours ago before I got back from work, I had a conversation with Tobi, lead singer of Trashboat. We went through the record track by track, very simply. Me sharing some thoughts, him speaking back at me about those thoughts, and sharing other little nuggets and details that are fucking awesome. This is a really, really good album. Theo is here as well. So here's a conversation with Tobi of Trashboat about Heaven Can Wait, track by track. Boom. Intro done. Thanks, Jody.
Hello.
Hello, Mr. Tobi.
Hello, indeed. Apologise for the wet look. I just took a shower.
No, well, I'm in Canada. I'm on Vancouver Island, where I've been for nearly 15 years, and I just woke up. Harley's just getting ready to go to school. It's 8:30 in the morning, so I've just got out the shower half an hour ago as well.
CB, you dried your hair because this is you know,
yeah.
I'm a cretin. I got out. I gave it the old towel scrubberoo, and I was like, oh, I had about 5 minutes to have a cup of tea, and then came straight up here with wet hair. But I mean, that's the vibe these days with Gen Z, isn't it? To have like that cool wet look. Is this a video interview or is it a? It
is a video interview. You know, do you want me to put like a post hat on you or something?
I'll tell you what, actually, if it's a video interview that's actually going to be video, give me 30 seconds to just
do what you got to do. Honesty is the best policy.
Oh my God, that's funny.
Going for that Brill cream look from the year 2000.
A short while later, what?
It's made all the difference, hasn't it? Now I look like a professional.
Have you got one of those Dyson hand dryers in there? That was quick.
No, I just gave it the old friction as well.
Yeah, fucking hell. You always know when you're on the verge of being late for something when you're like, for 30 seconds.
I was this is one of the most embarrassing things I've ever done. Not in terms of like embarrassing myself, but just internally. I got the dates for a funeral mixed up.
Oh no.
And that's, you know, and it wasn't a member of my family. It was like a member of a friend's family. And I just felt so horrible. And I suddenly realized with about 10 minutes to spare that I needed to be there. And I had gotten out of the shower like 10 minutes prior, hadn't dried my hair, and literally went to this funeral with wet hair. Because like I had to just fucking... And in the car on the way over, I was like hanging my head out the window trying to be like, fucking just...
Oh my God.
I just threw on some formal black clothes and was just like, I have to go, otherwise I'm going to be late. And luckily I made it there just before it started. But that was not good. That was not one of my finest moments.
Well, at least you were there. You know, that's a delicate situation, but at least you were there in attendance, for goodness sake. So,
indeed.
Well, what a start. There we go. That's it. Time's up. Our 20 minutes is done. And at least your hair is dry now. No.
Dry it.
To check on, bye, have a good day at school. It's Tobi time.
Have a good day at school.
I'll show you later. Yeah, so just to check on time. So we've got, 20 minutes from this point? You got someone else afterwards? Or what's the situation?
No. You are my last call of the day.
Oh, okay. So what is it, like 4:35 for you right now then?
It is almost exactly 4:30, yeah.
Yeah, okay, sweet.
Yeah, 4:35.
Well, what I was hoping we could do is just run through every single song. So what I've done is I like to dive in and listen multiple times and then write down just whatever comes to the top of my mind. And so what I was thinking is we sort of do a call and response. So I'll share a little bit of what I think about each song, and you'll retort with whatever comes to mind with regard to what I say. And also what I really love diving into is the pride of creation. So what are moments in each song that you're proud of? And so essentially Heaven Can Wait. I mean, I've been following your band since day one. I am massively, I just adore the growth. I think the first thing I want to say is when I'm looking at bands, when I'm looking at their careers, you cannot expect a band to stay in a certain pocket forever, right? Because as we all grow up and go through different life experience, there's different avenues we want to adventure, there's different places we want to go. And what your band has done masterfully is wholeheartedly attack, not that you've ever strayed completely away from who you are, that's not what I'm saying, but and especially in this record, you're ducking and diving into different influences and different genres, and you're melding them together, and you're making this whole new version and evolution of Trash Boat that I am really fucking into. So with Heaven Can Wait, track 1, Watching Heaven, I wrote, I love the haunting white noise bedding to the mix. It makes me think of a damp, mossy, abandoned silo where you're sat setting up the journey of your consciousness, life experiences and views of the world. There's a small hole in the roof of that silo you're staring up and out at the night sky of. That's where it transported me to in just 57 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting with intro tracks. There's no middle ground. They either set up the album and slap, or they just feel like filler. And this was originally an instrumental, so it was always like a minute long or however long it is. And up until we'd had everything mixed, and I just listened to that intro and I was like, feels like filler. Feels like filler, because it had no vocals on it. And I went home and I just sat at this very desk with this very microphone, and I was like, I literally just vibed it, and I started getting into that like Deftonesy, like really distorted, whispery Cheech style of vocals, and I was like, had the mic up here, and I was kind of just like going like that and seeing if I could get something cool out of it. And I just listened to it on a loop, just playing with melodies, and ended up coming up with that melody. And I can't lie, the lyrics are mostly off the dome. Like I did it not like rushed, but I just kind of, once I'd found the melody, I kind of just let the word, as lame as that sounds, I just let the words and how it sounded and how it made me feel come out randomly. And then if I found a phrase that obviously was in keeping with the tone of the album and blah, 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 then I followed it, and I thought, that's a great line. That says something that resonates with me. Now I need to expand on it. And I sort of continued from there. And yeah, I ended up really liking that intro. I think it has a really great vibe. And I like the silo thing. It's really cool.
Yeah, I had to double check myself on Google and be like, hang on, a Canadian's English silo, different situation. But I was like, no, that's just where it feels like just a very sort of rounded space. But I also don't think, to answer back to what you said, I don't think it's lame at all. I think you were just in that moment authentically, consciously and subconsciously knowing where this record goes, letting it flow. So I think that's what makes it such an intriguing opening for me.
It was easier for it to flow because I'd written all of the lyrics for the whole album already. So when I'm making stuff up, it's not like I'm just, Oasis style, just whatever sounds cool, even though I do really respect that. There was backing.
Yeah,
there was
no, you're just looking at like the key themes throughout, and those words appear, and it sets the scene.
Yes.
Okay, track 2, Burn. I wrote, the layering in this song blows my mind. The stereo field is bursting at the seams with such a masterful and a touch flirtatious arrangement. To explain the flirtatious, at the opening we immediately get hit with the these jagged, sharp synth, like, for me it's like a murder of crows that are circling around you, the way that you've orchestrated that. Some then fly off to allow space for your voice to appear centrally, but then those incredible growls in the pre-chorus. And this is where, sometimes, I don't know if I'm off here, but some of them sound a little bit reversed. But that's where then the flirtation comes in, because you don't overbear us with those growls. They lay a foundation. That makes me want to lean in, per se, to focus more on the lyrical journey of this song. My last note on it is how you vocally refrain until the very end of the song. It's just a beautifully haunting adventure.
Yeah. So, flirtation or flirtatious is a really interesting word, because they're not growls. It's probably the like quote unquote cringiest thing I've ever tried with my voice, because again, I was sort of bogarting the mic a little bit, but it's more like a hold me close. I'm just going like that, like really kind of like TikTok boy voice. So I'm kind of speaking. Then we layered it a bunch of times and like cranked just put a bunch of like filters over it to make it sound a bit bigger and a bit boomier. And yeah, like doing it made me cringe, because I had to be like, hold me close. And it's just a bit lame. But the outcome was really good. And you mentioned holding back until the end, which I also appreciate you picking up on, because this song it's the opener for the album, you know. And a lot of people, like we've got Be Someone, we got Filthy Righteous, we've got songs that I think are sort of objectively better, and maybe, you know, because people might not necessarily listen to like whole albums these days. They might listen to the intro song, and then that first song has got to be the one that gets them. Otherwise, so you want to lead with strength. But this song has not only like a good punchy riff and it sounds cool, but it has that held back sort of sonic aesthetic to it, where like my voice isn't actually doing much for the entirety of the song until that last riff at the end, which gives the album kind of sonically a place to go. Because even though it's like a big riff and it's like a crushing song, that's what gets your attention. But then vocally and like vibe wise, it's quite like wavy, Deftonesy, metalcore crushing riffs, but also like atmospheric and whatever. And then bang, you got that huge riff at the end, which is like, oh, okay, now the album's fucking starting, and then whoosh, into the next one.
You fucking got me on that. Because honestly, the effects that you put on those flirtatious vocals, as we're now monitoring them, that's what made me. I was like, I can't. It's not quite loud enough for me to comprehend. Is this a growl? Is this what is it? It was just covered in these effects, but it made it seem like it was pointed. So yeah, that's great to get that context behind it. And I mean, you've said Deftones twice. Half of my sleeve, I don't know, I'm on the shitty webcam for you, but most of my sleeve is all Deftones, one of my favorite bands of all time.
Yeah.
Okay, well, track 3, Be Someone, featuring Eric from I Prevail. So the movement from Burn to Be Someone is perfect, right? You're alluding to this. You're setting up shop for the record here, but you were leading to this moment. While you initially ease us in with your entrance vocally, this then catapults us when you enter in this song into full effect. The two things I love here, I said one is at 2 minutes 57 seconds. And I
sub 3 minutes, always good.
2 minutes, yeah, just before 3 minutes. Where have I got? I clipped it. Where is it? The problem is I've saved all these files. One's called The Drip, one's called N, one's called My Time, one's called Insane, one's called Die. You're going to know what half of those are without it. But
The Drip is the only one that's an actual title.
Which one is this? No, that's we're going to get to N later on.
Yeah.
No, it's got to be... No. Maybe I didn't fucking...
My Time!
No, I don't think I...
No, that's it. That was Be Someone right there.
No, but you see, I wanted to hone in on the blah. That's what I was going to get to.
Yes. Yeah.
And I obviously didn't record that one before.
They're kind of...
Yeah, 2 minutes 57 seconds. I haven't heard many of these in your career.
No. I'm not a big blegh man. I don't know, like... I've always been trying to sneak in slightly heavier elements to the music. And it's actually crazy because, like, obviously we have a handful of people who are quite upset at the fact that we're not as pop punky anymore. And it's all my fault. It's literally all my fault. And like, they both blame me and praise me because back in the days of Nothing I Write You and Crown Shyness, I was always the one trying to make things heavier. And that's what people loved about Trash Boat. They were like, oh my God, they're like a kind of a pop punk-ish band, but they play really fast and they do like really heavy riffs. Well, that's because I kicked and screamed and threw tantrums while we were writing, pop punk songs that sounded like State Champs and Real Friends and whatever. I was like, no, I need a big stinky riff because I like riffs and I want to shout. And then everyone was like, oh my God, we love that about you, Trash Boat. And then the more riffs that I brought in, the more people were like, well, we preferred it when you were like playing pop punk. And it's like, well, I'm sorry, I did big old stinky riffs. And that blegh wasn't even a studio take as per. It was something that I did in Ryan's bedroom as a joke because I wanted to track something over that breakdown bit. And though that line, it's never ending, I just made up on the spot. And then as a joke, while tracking that line in Ryan's bedroom, I went, it's never ending. Literally as a joke, not intending to use it at all. But then it ended up sounding really good. And I was like, oh, hell yeah, let's use it.
It does. I mean, that's what I was talking about at the start of this conversation too, is I'm going to probably age myself a bit here, but with Funeral for a Friend, when many, many years ago, they started to incorporate strings into their compositions. was at Reading Festival and people are like, I don't want to fucking hear strings on this. This is ridiculous. And I was like, yeah, but this is evolution. I understand that people are going to like or not like something. They're going to go, okay, well, this is great back then. I'm not into this right now. That's okay. But there's such a fickle middle ground with that. Just let the fucking people evolve. And if you don't like it, that's okay. But then just to constantly, I mean, the day and age we're in right now of social media and ability to comment on YouTube and stuff, like, it's just too easy to be like, well, fucking hell, this is shit, whatever, you know?
You know what? I don't judge them in any way, shape or form, because the way I see it is that they're fans of the sound. They're not fans of the band, they're fans of the sound. And if there's a sound that you like, and there's artists that make that sound, you're going to like those artists. And if they don't make those sounds, then you're not going to like them. There's loads of artists who I love, by the way. I don't think one is better than the other at all. But like, you listen to Knocked Loose, Kublai Khan, you know what I mean? They have a sound and they're going to play it 10 to 15 times on an album, and they're going to release another album a couple of years later that's going to be that exact same sound. Both of those bands, I fucking love. I literally crush Knocked Loose and Kublai Khan regularly. Wicked bands. We are the opposite end of the spectrum in that we're a bit of a mess. You know, we don't, you know, what we're going to do from album to album, song to song. Like, there's no real core mechanic or genre within our album. There's like Queens of the Stone Agey type stuff. There's Linkin Parky stuff. There's Deftonesy stuff. There's like straight up metalcore riffs. There's an acoustic song, you know, like it's all over the place. I like that. It's my vibe personally. I love it when bands are like really, really eclectic and you don't really know where they're going to land. I have been disappointed by it in the past. Of course, there have been bands that have, you know, when Title Fight released Hyperview, I was like, oh man, I miss when Title Fight was kind of angry, grungy, fast, like post-hardcore pop punk, and then they released Hyperview, which was like really shoegazy, and I didn't like it as much. But like, I don't know, I'm not going to fucking go on Title Fight's Facebook and be like, dude, Floral Green and Shed was so much better. Like, they love Hyper, and you know, you listen objectively, Hyperview is a really, really good album. It's not my favorite thing. I'm not like a big fan of that shoegazy vibe, but still love Title Fight. Still rap Title Fight, you know what I mean? But yeah, that's how I see it. And I, you know, all these people that are like, we preferred you in this era, we prefer you in this era, I bear them zero ill will. I completely respect their thoughts. It's unfortunate for us. Takes bums out of seats and takes record sales away from us. But at the end of the day, like, I'm only fussed about acquisition in that manner so I can keep doing this. I want to sell records so that I can fund this band that I love, and I want to make big fat stacks that touch the sky so that I can continue to go on tours and continue to play shows. And I want as many people to listen to my band as possible because I want bigger shows and I want to touch more people with my music. I want crazy energy, blah, blah, blah. But other than that, like, I don't know. It's what it is.
No, well said. I agree. I mean, it's like you said in the Kerrang conversation as well. You know, you've got aspirations and you do need success in order to fund just doing that. You know, there's so many bands that have dropped out of touring. Where I am, lots of bands might come through Vancouver, but I'm on Vancouver Island. You've got to get on another ferry that's another 90 minutes to get across. The expenditure for a big band, we've had massive bands, whether it's Blink-182 to you name whatever, that have cancelled and cited that extra little bit of a journey, even with a sold-out arena, as, wow, we just can't quite afford that on the tour. So you need the stacks in order to go around the world and do what you love. That's just the reality of it. To dive back into Be Someone, and I actually didn't want to jump into that reaction stuff at all, really, because A, I knew that time was tight, and B, I kind of knew what you would say, which is that you're allowed your opinion.
Sure.
That's it. But another moment that I liked that I played a minute ago was, and we'll get into Eric and what I read in the Rock Sound sharing as well about, you know, a little bit of a scuffle and whatnot and how that seemed like a nod to the song. But another moment that I love in this record, 3 minutes, 20 seconds. I played it earlier. I'll play it again now. It's this. My time! That fucking sound. So for me, that triggers in my brain to think of a futuristic bird call. I don't know if you'll make these little accents throughout the record are so fucking good. I don't know if you're like a secret bird, you know, Attenborough fan, you're out there looking for certain bird calls, but that's such a fascinating, Is that a synth? What the hell is that? I need to know what that is. It's so cool.
I don't know. That is a question for Ryan, or I believe it's Ryan. It will be from like, it'll be the classic from a sample pack somewhere that either sounded like that fresh out the box, or we like made it 1,000 times faster or 1,000 times higher and just like played around with it a little bit. But it came from the same place as the da 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 in the pre-chorus, which is why the song was originally called Batman. That was the working title, because it sounds like the old Tim Burton Batman soundtrack, like da 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 da, and then fucking like Michael Keaton comes down. So that song was Batman for the longest time. But yeah, it will have just come from a sample pack somewhere that would have twisted it.
It got me the Batman fact, and that's fucking golden. So you were saying, I was reading in Rock Sound, okay, Eric, I Prevail, that his partner was really into you. That's how you ended up touring with them. Then, okay, do you want to guest on a song? And then, as you've shared in the interview, you're in Dublin. Someone's being a fucking asshat to his girlfriend or someone we don't know for sure. And then Eric steps in and he turns around. It's just, what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah, I mean, I'll try and sort of keep it brief, because obviously it was
legalities.
It was kind of long, yeah, like we were drinking, we weren't drunk. We were all about like 2 or 3 beers deep, and we were outside a bar in Dublin, and we were walking from one place to another because the place we were in had shut. And this guy comes out, and he is just this big dude, 6 foot something, pretty thick built, was just raging, like blind drunk, just like a fucking berserker, trying to start a fight with no one in particular. He was just throwing his weight around, hoping that someone would bump into him so that he could fight. That was the energy. And he had this girlfriend with him, or his date, a girl that was with him in some way, who was about 2/3 his size, who was doing the classic. She was just like trying to get his arms in and be like, stop, calm down. Oh my God. And classic English. It's one of those where you got to walk the line. It's like, do I get involved and save the day or potentially make things worse? 50-50. Or do I keep my head down and move on and let fate do what it will? Me and Ryan, being English, put our heads down. It wasn't like battering her or anything. She was trying to stop him, and he was just sort of like pushing her out the way and tossing her out the way. And we were just like, oh God, you know what? We might make it worse if we intervene. It's none of our business. Eric chose the other direction, stepped in and was like, you can't do that. You can't push her. You can't anything. And so I was like, okay. So I sort of watched it unfold, and Eric was, you can't fucking do that, giving him the old no. And this guy wasn't hearing a word Eric said. He was absolutely obliterated. And as soon as Eric stepped in front of him, he was like, yay, someone I can fight. Awesome. And the thing is, the reason why we didn't get involved is like, what if we piss this guy off so much that he ends up like going home and really hurting this girl that he's with because he lost the fight? You don't know. But he ended up like attacking Eric, and then Eric sort of like threw him off. And as he threw him off, he hit the ground and he like cut his eyebrow, and it was like bleeding down the side of his face. And Eric at that point just sort of was like, yeah, fuck you, and walked away. And Eric walked past me, and this guy gets up off the floor, makes a beeline for Eric, and is going to like punch him in the back of the head. And as I see him do that, I jumped on his back and just locked him up and like wrapped my legs around his waist, dragged him to the floor with me on his back, and put him to sleep for about, I don't know, like 20 seconds. And then when he came to, he was obviously like, "Rrr," and I was literally just holding on to him. I was like, dude, I can't let you get up angry, because if you go and try and attack my friend again, I'm gonna have to do this again. You've got to chill. You've got to chill. And we sat there for a good couple minutes. I wasn't squeezing. I was just holding him there, and he was like, "Rrr, rrr, rrr," and I was like, you like, we're gonna have to sit here until you calm down.
Oh my God.
And he was like, okay. So I let him go. He got up immediately. He was like, where the fuck is he? By this time, Eric had left, which is good. And then like he was like, where the fuck? And he just like started walking. And I was like, right, well, I'm just gonna make my timely exit. And that was it. That was the whole situation. But it was just funny. It was just fun. Like it all kind of unfolded quite quickly, and then it was just the story of the tour.
And as you said in that chat as well, the share with Roxanne, like it ties into the journey of Be Someone lyrically as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's both Be Someone and kind of Filthy Righteous to an extent are just about like that default that we have to solving things with violence. And not even solving things in like a pragmatic way. Like sometimes when you're drunk and angry, like you just want to fight, like that guy, you just wanted to fight someone. Like when you have no other tools and you don't have ways of processing your emotions or things that have happened to you or your actions or your inability to see yourself having a future, whatever it is, our first port of call for so many people is anger and violence. And it's something that doesn't resonate with me. And I'm very, very happy that I'm not that type of person. And that's what the song is about. It's just sort of like a pushback on those types of people, just being like, stop it.
Well, track 4, Filthy Righteous, you got Kenta of Crossfaith. I wrote for this, the first half of the first verse, guitar is almost sung en-like, traditional Japanese guitar. I might be off with that. It has this fluidity to it. Then we get the angry wall of guitars as you scream at us mid-verse, which then builds near the end of the verse to more of a slap-back call and response reverb as the guitar steps more profoundly into the mix before the chorus kicks off. I wrote, that is some really fucking cool detailing. At 1 minute 29, you said N, and I already played that earlier, this. And
no, that's Kenta.
That's Kenta? So that's Kenta calling to himself coming up? Or what
I think
is
he's
that?
just going, hey, or something like that.
Just getting
I'm not
excited.
sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure, honestly. He vibed it.
Well, I like the vibe because I was like, there's so many mystery little fucking sounds in this. I was like, there might be purpose behind this.
No, I think that's just him going, hey, or something like that. I have no idea. Because I encouraged him. Like, I didn't give him like a brief specifically because I wanted him to potentially go crazy with it. Like, if he wanted to do it in Japanese, if he wanted to like make it some insane like rap rhythm, or if he wanted to scream the whole thing, I was just like, dude, this is what the song's about. Whatever you want to do it. And he was like, no, I want to do it in English. And I was like, okay, cool, do it in English. But then he was like, I want to make sure my English is correct. So he sent me the lyrics and he's like, can you proofread these and make sure? And he was like, I don't know how to say this. I kind of want to say like this type of thing, but I don't know how to phrase it. And I sort of helped him structurally. But at the same time, like, I didn't really want to. So some of it came through not making that much sense grammatically, like perfectly. And I was like, dude, it's great. It's great. I love that it doesn't make sense because it has so much character. And I think that's cool. But he was like, no, I want it to be perfect. And I was like, okay, fair enough. Like, so I helped him out. But when he sent it over and there were just like these little lines that sounded cool but didn't really make sense, I was like, oh, dude, let's keep it like that. It's sick.
Yeah, no, there is a lot of energy in it, a lot of charisma in his taking that song. I'm guessing that you two didn't bond over street fighting in Dublin, no, did you?
Quite the opposite.
Yeah.
No, Kent is just lovely. And all that, and like the street fighting thing is a funny story, but like Eric is a legend and we were like good friends before that and we were hanging out for that like entire tour, and that was in the last like 3 days of the tour. And he was already doing vocals for Silence is Golden on stage, and we'd already sort of had it in our minds that we were going to ask him to do a song, and then that had basically nothing to do with him doing a feature. It's just funny.
Yeah, no.
It was good bonding for the two of us because like I'd saved his life.
Yeah, well, you never know.
Getting a smack, and he was very grateful. But Kent is the opposite because he just introduces himself to everyone at every festival, every show. The Crossfaith guys are just walking around in the common area, just being like, "Hey, what's up? What's up?" And everyone loves them because they're awesome. And he did the same thing with us. We were like kicking a football around, and he was like, "What's up? I'm Kenta from Crossfaith. Hello, can I kick football with you?" We were like, "Yeah, fuck yeah, do it." And then that happened like twice at 2 different festivals. The most recent one was Jera on Air. And then when we were writing that song, I was just like, Kenta would make a good feature here. So I literally just messaged him. I was like, yeah, we've got this song. I think you'd smash it because it's like quite Linkin Parky, rap rocky energy. And he listened to it and he was like, yeah, cool, let's do it. I was like,
was there a particular feeling in pairing 2 guest songs back to back? No. I mean, it just happened with as you were alluding to, like Be Someone and Filthy Righteous, kind of the same vibe, but not necessarily
they had
guest
together,
vocals.
Yeah. They're 2 halves of the same vibe, lyric wise. It's like a continuation.
Yeah. All right, track 5. Are you ready now? I said, and this is obviously leaning into a bit of what you've said in press releases and interviews too, but a song about the fickleness of existence. How does one try to find happiness while the world around us goes through such turbulent growth, like a spinning carousel of options, including suffering and happiness, resources, war, money, so on? It's a song that feels like the foundations of the record being laid despite its placement as the 5th on the record. Much like Burn, it also feels sonically comfortable and solid in like the band's happy place for me. One of the standout moments of the entire record is when in the lead up to the last chorus, and you say it's driving me insane. That insane, and I've clipped it. I don't think we'll play it because you know it. You probably did it a bunch. Goes for 21.43 seconds. Halfway through, you step up. Is there a mini gasp? Is it one take? It's fucking incredible, man.
That is one take, and I have a video of me doing it that I'm going to post at some point. But that is one take, yeah.
It's insane.
And I did it first time in the studio as well, which I was not expecting.
Was that one live on Twitch or no?
No, it wasn't live on Twitch.
Okay.
It was in the studio, but like, so practicing for the Given Up scream, which is 17 seconds. I was doing it so much, trying to like find my breath. And when we started doing it live, I failed a bunch. Like when we first started playing Given Up live, I'd hit it like 50% of the time and it would be lucky. Then, because we played it for like a full year of touring, towards the end of that year, I was getting it every time. And I honestly, now I feel like I could do a longer one. Like 21 seconds was just kind of my max at the time. I could definitely go longer now because I've got the techers down. But I was preparing to do it in the studio and I was like kind of nervous. I was like, how long is this going to take? And first take, I did it and I was like, holy fuck. And then I was like, okay, let's get a bunch more just in case. Failed every single subsequent take. So I was so lucky that I got it first time. I was like, yes. And then every time I tried it again over the next like full day in the studio, couldn't do it.
It's insane. Because I mean, when you're on stage and all the extra energy you pump out, just exuding, you know, this is my fucking stage right now. Like to have that preparation given up, you know, as you referenced there, this is no mean feat to have that kind of standard. What I really like as well is all these little videos you're putting out. Yes, the Twitch streams, but yes, on Instagram as well, in the vocal coaching, you know? So like, what did you search out in order to unlock that? Whether you got the one taken and the rest failed or not, you still fucking did it. So how did you get there? And also, it's important, interrupting you before you answer, Canadian listeners are not going to know what the fuck techers mean. And I have not used that word. I've not used that word in so long and I miss it. So you'll need to explain that as well. Okay, back to you.
Technique. Techers is technique. You got good techers, you got good technique. I mean, I've been doing this for 11 years now. 11 years of hard grind, doing things the wrong way, doing things the long way, being too aggressive with my voice, putting too much in, not min-maxing my resources, etc., etc., etc. And it was just trial and error with the best trial platform possible, which is being on stage and having the music and the atmosphere and the blah, blah, blah. And then when I started doing vocal coaching like a couple of years ago, now I'm like singing every day with people. So my voice is just kind of like, there's no downtime. Usually like you go on tour for 6 months and then you're home for 2 months, and that 2 months you're like, I don't want to do any more singing. Oh my God. And then by the time you go out on tour, you're like, oh my God, I need to warm myself back up. But in that 2 months where I'm back from tour, I'm now just like doing vocal coaching stuff. So I'm constantly singing. And my voice is just getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And yeah, I've learned a lot about how you can achieve really quite aggressive and loud and cool sounds without having to do what I was doing for like the first 6 or 7 years of being in this band. And that's just going like full dick, balls to the wall, maximum projection, maximum grind in my throat, because yeah, that's cool. Like you can still achieve something that has that same energy with far fewer resources.
Well said. I used to joke with one of my friends, Danny, when we were 15, 16, that the only way we were ever going to sound like our favorite singers was to drink continuous whiskey 24 hours a day and smoke 300 cigarettes as well. It's not always about that. Not always about that. Track 6, Better Than Yesterday. Mark Twain, comparisons to Death of Joy. You've mentioned it. Yes. You say in the song about the song is a reminder to not try to be better than anyone other than yesterday's self. The only person you should focus on is beating. I wrote, beautiful song. Halfway through the record, this mix is like you've got home for the day, you've thrown your backpack on the staircase, the physical weight of the day is down, but one's mind now gets to reflect, and at times it can be a negative self-narrative that plays back that day. This song really speaks to me, and while it's not a simple mix, it gives much needed space for listeners to truly step into your mind and the story, and in turn reflect on their own and connect their own unique history to the song as well. It seems a little bit more stripped back and allows that comfort to come in and lean into something that is, not to say that the other songs aren't emotional, but let's just scale this back a bit, sit down and really fucking reflect on the journey so far.
Well, this is definitely more of a throwback stylistically, I guess, to a lot of the types of songs that I would write on our first two records. Because our first two records were very introspective, very inwardly focused, very like feelings related to things that had happened in my past or like things that I hadn't processed. Because when I'm putting out those first two albums, I'm going through all of the things that I think will inspire really, really honest and powerful lyrics, and I'm getting them out, whether they're good or bad. And then once you've done like 2 EPs and 2 records of that, it's not like I've stopped going through things, but I felt like I'd said what I needed to say about all of the most relevant and poignant subjects in my past. So I started to think a bit more externally, like, and then, Don't You Feel Amazing comes along, and there's a lot of lyrics about like the here, the now, enjoying things, because things are going great. I'm not this like really angsty kid anymore that's like holding on to all this trauma. Like my band is crushing it, and I'm feeling happier about certain things. I'm still writing about stuff that perturbs me and blah blah blah, but sometimes with Alpha Omega there's a little bit more of a fun edge to it. Like loads of people hate that chorus, the one that goes like idiot, you fucking idiot. They hail it as like the downfall of my lyrical prowess, and they're like, oh my god, he's gone from writing these really awesome lyrics to writing a chorus that goes idiot. I mean, the rest of the lyrics in that song slap, if I don't say so myself. But I was trying to have a little bit of fun with a very serious topic that I was sort of very angry about, and just throw like a little, I don't know, something fun on top. Because I wasn't doing that super like introspective style again, and people hate it. Oh well. But this song is loads of people love it, by the way. Sorry, caveat. Some people hate it.
And you respect their hate. Yes,
I do respect.
You're
the
at
hate.
ease
Fair
with their
enough.
hate.
It is extremely cringe, but it's fun. It's fun. It's fun. But it is cringe. I understand. I agree. Better Than Yesterday is sort of just like, it's back to that like very, very introspective style where I'm just getting a little bit emotional, a little bit this, a little bit that, trying to like dig deep into a feeling that I have that I'm trying to humble, I'm trying to be honest about. Maybe it's something that I'm battling with, jealousy and comparison, death of joy, all that kind of stuff. Seeing people be more successful around me, constantly thinking about my own success, being trapped in this matrix of acquisition where I feel like I need to have more, and more people need to like my band. If I put out a song and it doesn't get millions of views, then I'm a failure. And oh my God, when is this band going to end? At some point, are we going to crash and burn? All these thoughts, I'm trying to package them up and put them in a song that evokes those feelings. And it was just sort of like, it's a similar style to our first couple of records, contrary to most of the songs on the previous two.
It's a really fucking good album. This whole album is fucking brilliant. Track 7, Break You. I wrote hypnotic guitars and an unnerving triangle player team up with a drum and bass fan in the intro before the song ignites and moves us into the next chapter fast. The low floor toms are massive in this. It launches us into side 2, but it doesn't seem as thickly layered as we move on from Better Than Yesterday. It's a riled up response to the anxiety prior, potentially, ready to do some work and move forward with your life.
Yeah, it kind of has that like slightly sparser turnstile vibe to it. Like it didn't need the thickness of something like Burn or Filthy Righteous or something like that. I think if it was too heavy, it wouldn't land. It's kind of the same with the Drip as well. The Drip is like kind of a slightly thinner approach to it. But yeah, that's kind of if you were to take 6 months of being the type of person that has incredibly intense anxiety and fear or whatever, and you were to put that within a person or an object, that song Break You is like, I'm trying to like either destroy or process or whatever the word you want to use is trying to, like, I chose the word break you because I want to break you. I want it to be over, done with. I want it to never happen again. That's effectively what that song is about.
It's interesting. Side note is to share a little bit about me, but not to go too deep on it or trigger warning, etc. 2 guys changed my life when I was 10 years old. And that haunted me for a long time through my teenage years. I went through everything, it was my Chemical Romance phase and my complete emo, my Pearl Jam phase, my Soundgarden phase, and my Seattle fucking grunge dude. Just trying to find all these different looks, trying to settle on a personality, trying to figure out who I was after some distortion early on. And because I'm 37 years old. So after 20 years of reading and seeking and trying to learn about how can I basically turn the negativity of the past into fuel for my internal fire. So I can't forget it. I can't remove it. It's happened, but it shaped me. And so a lot of this record, when there are moments like the last two songs, that's where my mind's going, is like, look at this journey of the fickleness and difficulty that life can have. And something that I've really tried to be pretty firm on is like, you cannot ditch. And this is not to, I'm not answering back at you and saying you can't blow it up and break it. This is where I completely understand where you're coming from. You've got your unique journey. But for me, I'm applying that like, fuck, I wish I could blow it up too. Wish I could blow them up.
Honestly, I agree with you, because the whole lyric is, I want to break you down. And when what comes after that is like, break you down and use you for something. That's what this whole band is. Like, exactly how you say. You go through some distortion, you think, how can I turn that thing into something good? Well, I joined a band, I wrote music, I connect with people, and they sing my songs back, and we both have a great time. That is me taking it, breaking it down, repackaging it into something that is positive, and throwing it out there and making it a good thing. So I completely agree with you.
It's pretty fucking awesome. Pretty awesome. Okay, we're up to track 8, The Drip. You sort of leaned into this a little bit, but I wrote how I love...
This is the sleeper. This is going to be the sleeper of the record. No one's going to appreciate this song for what it is.
Well, I wrote, oh, how I love the distortion meets sludge coupling this song starts with. You've got the dramatic pan left. It's joined by its cousin guitar-wise layer on the first verse starting on the right. It's just slightly off, adding more width to the stereo field than you might usually get. Like, you wouldn't... It's not like a hard pan. It's just a little bit inside that makes you go, oh, fuck, at least for my brain anyway, with that double. Here starts the mainly top right piano and synth stabs, the little pepper piece in the top right there. Oh, I've got a black...
Snow Queens of the Stone Age in it.
Yeah, and that's another one of my favorites right there. Right there. Yeah. Your Black Cat, I got Theo under the desk here who's needing my right knee as we speak. Yeah, he did, yeah.
I'll tell you what, I just need to really quickly shut the front door then, because the front door will be wide open. Hang on.
Okay.
We have to open the door for him because we don't have a cat flap. So when he comes in, the front door will just be wide open.
Right.
So
okay.
Shut.
All right. So with that piano and synth stab in the top right, it's for me, it's the constant. It's the headache that won't go away. Is what that's sort of it's shaking me up a little bit. Initially, though, it disappears at the start of each chorus, or does it? Or is it that it's so you fucking planted it and we're just being haunted by it in the verses? I just think. And I also said the synth at the end of this song is really cool. Like the synth at the end, for me, I picture like a transformer break dancing. I don't know why. It's not meant to be cheesy. It's just what came to mind.
Yeah.
And I also write, I try not to throw the bands into conversation unless the artist chooses to, which you've done a lot with Turnstile, Queens of Stone Age, Deftones, 3 incredible fucking bands. But there's 2 or 3 times throughout this record that I can't help but think of Daft Punk and Human After All and that synth. And I'm just saying... I'm not saying that it's the same synth or anything, but it's where it's transported me to, and the synth effect on the end of this song is fucking rad.
Sure, I appreciate that, and you know what? I don't mind the Daft Punk comparison at all, because it would be really, really difficult to pin any accusations of plagiarism on us because none of us listen to Daft Punk. Obviously, I know like harder, better, faster, stronger.
Yeah.
Like I know the most famous songs. I have never in my life sat down and actively listened to Daft Punk. The only times I've heard Daft Punk were like when they play on the radio, and I'm like, oh, it's a Daft Punk song. And I think everyone in my band is the same. So I think that is a total happy accident.
Good. Well, that's good, because I'm not accusing of plagiarism. I just think the synth is fucking dope. And for me, as a Daft Punk fan, I'm like, that's fucking sick. Yeah. But yes, you were saying this is like a dark horse. Why do you feel that about this?
I think this is the one that's the most different. It's the most sort of out of character for the album, because it's a little bit more like steampunky, Queens of the Stone Agey, like rock and rolly. It's kind of a little bit more like butt rocky than any of the others, but it's the lyrics. They're the best. Okay, saying it right now, they're the best lyrics on the album. They are the literally the best lyrics on the album. If you sit down and listen to this album and you get to the drip, whip the lyric sheet out or Google it, because they have the best lyrics on them. And it's kind of like, and I like that they're the best lyrics because the inspiration behind the song is a little bit cheesy in the sense that it's like a political activism motivation type song, but not in the sense of like, we need to bring down the establishment or we need to bring in the golden age of socialism or anything weird like that. It's more like, focus on the political effects that you can have with like things that you can handle and things that you can actually have an effect on. Start small and, you know, plant the seed, all that kind of stuff. And the lyrics poured out of me and perfectly reflect exactly what I was trying to say, which is really hard to do with a political song. Most of the time when I'm writing a political song, I'm like, Jesus Christ, I just sound like a dick. I either sound like a champagne socialist, or, you know, it's so hard to summarize complex political issues in a song and say what you want to say and make it be meaningful in like so many words. And you have to sing it as well. And so many bands do it so poorly. And, you know, you want to be the next Rage Against the Machine who just absolutely crush it. And I don't want to pat myself on the back too much, but I just love the lyrics in the verses in particular, because obviously the chorus lyrics is just one line. But the verse lyrics are fantastic.
Chef's kiss for that one. No, I mean, the lyric sheets aren't out there yet because the record's not out for a couple of weeks here. But to me, it's one of my favorites on the album. And yeah, it's great to see your excitement on that because it sticks out, and it doesn't stick out like it's a splinter. You know, it's not like, fuck, what's this? But it's profound, I think, is a better choice of word. Track 9, Liar Liar. Well, obviously this has been out for a bit here, but the song that laid a firm marker for the new album cycle in such an explosive manner, and doing so aiming at the podcast bro culture that you've spoken about. It's as vicious as it is rampant and seriously fucking angry. Bowl, clear, distorted guitars build a wall to scream from within for you. I said, I love the simplicity and the old school swagger of the chorus. In swagger, I mean energetically. I don't mean cheesy fucking merch. And the chorus lyric takes me back to the school playground. I love this play on the KISSING with the pissing. It's fucking like, liar,
It's
liar,
so
sat on my
cheesy,
screen, PISSING, fuck off. It's just, but I think it's such a great way of meeting the immaturity broness halfway and being like, okay, if we want to juke right now, okay, you're a fucking idiot. PISSING.
Exactly. That was the whole vibe. I mean, like the whole nursery rhyme thing, whatever. it's trying to end the potential for what they would see as like a legit debate before it even starts. Like there was a rapper duo called Shuffle T and Marlowe. This is showing my age. Back in the days when Don't Flop was popping off, and no one could battle Shuffle T and Marlowe because all these gangster rappers would come in with these bars about how they're going to fucking kill you and how they're going to rob you and how tough they are. And these guys, Shuffle T and Marlowe, they were like these two guys that went to like universities in Surrey, these like really posh white guys that would just come in and just like completely underplay the gangster style. And they were untouchable. They won every battle. And yeah, it's just being a bit silly and aggressive to kind of just to show them how silly and aggressive their whole aura is. It infuriates me, and it's everywhere, and it's so fucking easily digestible, isn't it? And it's so easy for people like this to sort of just sit back on their heels and have these thought processes that don't have to go anywhere. They think so directly and so simply about so many really complicated things, and they actively choose not to engage with the nuance of so many topics because it's exhausting. And it is exhausting, and they're just like, no, I am going to stick to this extremely simple answer that fits my simple sensibilities, and you're never going to get me off this fucking pedestal, and anyone else is trapped in the matrix, or your body count's too high, or, you know, you're ugly, or you're stupid, or I have bigger muscles than you, so I could probably beat you up. Like, that's where the conversation ends, and it's just like... And they also have a habit of, like, they purposely bring people on who are going to feed into that narrative. Like, they never bring on like really good debaters or like proper intellectuals. They usually bring on people that are just going to be controversial and loud and just be like, fuck you, you know what, fuck you. And it's like, it's not, it shows, it's matching their ignorance, isn't it? It's bringing on an ignorance so they can just rebound off each other and get clicks, because that's what all of the clickbait titles are. It's like, this stupid person said this and then they got angry, and it's like, oh, millions of views. But yeah. It's a culture that irritates me to my core, and I wanted to write a stupid song about it.
And this is very clear that it irritates you. Was when you first wrote this, did you know, okay, was there more of the album fleshed out in the scheme and the plan of things leading up to this point, or was it just like a one-off and then everything fell after?
Liar and Delusions were total one-offs. We're always writing music. I mean,
Yeah.
like, we don't really write anything with an album in mind. We just constantly write songs, and then when we have enough full songs that are sort of coherent narrative-wise, we end up putting them together in an album. But like, it's the lyrics that make things coherent, really. Obviously, sonically and instrumentally, there has to be a degree of coherence as well. But we're constantly writing songs, and some make the cut and some don't. And we had Delusions, we had Liar, and then we had Break You, which Break You we were writing more as a sort of album song. But after we did Liar, we were like, okay, we've got these two great songs. Now, as we continue to write, we'll start compiling them into an album.
Well, we're speaking about track 10 and Delusions of Grandeur. We're going on to it. I wrote another gem of a vocal ahead of the last chorus with the 7.86 seconds long die, which I've got here. It's great. Damn. I mean, that's what I wrote, but in all caps. Damn. This song has massive energy and bounce to it. The backing vocals lining with the guitar lick in the choruses are solid. The urgent end to each phrase in that is effective in balancing out the multiple lead vocal patterns and phrasings and story that you go through, and the song grows. Just subtle changes throughout, and it's really intriguing. This is a really refined and narrow stereo feel that leads me to think of a storm in a teacup situation. To me, it feeds into the fickle nature of determining success while flicking through a shitty celeb gossip magazine over a morning cuppa and thinking, Jesus fucking Christ. The song that started the build up to the new era of Trash Boat is what I wrote about that one.
Yeah. I see Delusions as the aggressive, punky older brother of Better Than Yesterday. So Better Than Yesterday is like the, focused on success, comparison is the death of joy, all that kind of stuff. But that's like the kind of ballady, smooth, like, oh, I'm in my feelings about this. And then Delusions of Grandeur is exactly as you say, like flipping through the magazine and being like, fucking hell, why aren't I massive? You know what I mean? When's it going to be my turn? Even though it's currently my turn, you know what I mean? Like, but my turn means selling out arenas 10 days in a row.
Yeah.
You know? Like, I'll just, part of me will never be happy until I'm doing that.
Yeah, but in particular, though, this is not like a Kerrang or like an interesting and cool magazine. This is like a okay and looking at absolute imbeciles on yachts and
yeah, I feel it.
Right, that's where I'm coming from. Yeah. All right, well, track 11, Lazy, because I've got to go and stack some shelves a little bit here. The album closer, the warm blanket on a rainy day, the reflective chat after the mayhem of the last half an hour onslaught of the album. The intro pre-full band is like driving in the rain with a shitty set of windscreen wipers. The first verse is like throwing the wet jacket down after getting inside, finding a connection that has comfort with or without words on a planet surrounded by non-stop chaos. I mean, that's what it inspired me to write.
Wow. Yeah, you know what? There ain't no way to gussy this one up with a bunch of over thesaurus bullshit and thoughts. It's a love song. I've never written a lot. I never write love songs. It doesn't resonate with me. There's a lot of bands that they're incredible and they're incredible musicians, but all of their songs are centering around loving a person in the past, present, or future. Do you know what I mean? It's like something, it will be albums upon albums upon albums of how different relationships with different partners has affected them. And that's a very common thing that a lot of people to relate to. And that's why these bands are so successful. Because loads of people go through breakups. It's like the trope, isn't it? Like, oh, I broke up with this guy. I listened to this song about breaking up with a girl. You know, I was falling for a girl who asked me to come over just for a day when her parents went away, kind of vibes, you know? Fantastic songs, just never a topic that particularly resonated with me. I'm not much of a lover boy. I was never having like that. Those aren't the things that shaped my life and my thoughts and my traumas and anything like that. Never been a big relationship guy. And never really wrote any songs about it and never really related to bands that wrote songs about that kind of stuff. It was just never something where I was like, oh, fuck yeah, it feels like this guy is speaking directly to me. Oh my God, I've been through this exact thing. And I've been with my partner now for about 3 years and I love her. And I wrote a song because I love her.
There you go. I'm not sure if initially you're bashing my shares there. I don't want to over thesaurus it, and I'm like, damn, I kind of just over thesaurused my.
No, that's my career. That's what I do on a daily basis. So we're in the exact same boat.
Okay, yeah, it's mad. Like I've been Jody. I met Jody right before the pandemic. We're in our fourth year together. Harley, I've known since he was just turned 6. He's 10 now, and it's been a whirlwind because I worked in commercial rock radio for a decade, and I left early in the pandemic to start my own thing, just because I felt like I wasn't getting the chance to grow as much as I would like to within that setting. And so by leaving and diving into your own, it's an internet radio station, and the podcast is doing really well, and et cetera, et cetera. But like I needed to force myself into a different growth path, and so. Yeah, ultimately, I mean that's why it's great so I don't want to overtalk myself here, but that's why it's so cool to finally speak with you, man. I mean, I've seen you live when I was in England years ago before I moved here, and to see the rise and also the music videos for this record, the all glass, man. I want more music videos. I know with that comes money, but really fucking cool work. Yeah,
but there's one more coming up.
I'm thankful that you rearranged this chat from last week. I'm thankful that you've made such an open schedule to talk about your art. And I hope that you've spoken with hundreds of fucking people, because this is a really, really special record. I think the band is really...
I appreciate the depth that we went into as well. It wasn't the classic, the questions that I get asked all the time. This is a very fun interview.
Well, I appreciate that, because that's my shtick. Is like when I worked in commercial radio and you've got 10 minutes on the phone, I'd spend 9 minutes getting to know someone and then ask them one question. And try and get some more substance. So for you to be so open and so, not to over thesaurus it, but yourself, right, has been very much appreciated. But
by the way, when I said that, I was strictly referring to how I am often like that. I wasn't making a comment on how I thought that's what you were like. Because I'm the type of person that when I get asked a question, I'm thinking, right, I need to do this question justice. So I'm just going to speak and wax lyrical about and try and, answer the question as thoroughly as I can. And then when I said that, I was like, you know what? I'm not going to do that for the answer to this question. I'm going to keep it simple.
Yes. No, I'm just jabbing because I felt like over the last 50 minutes that you would understand my humor with it. So that's fine. We've both had a moment of that in this conversation. So that's great. There we are. We're 1-1. Good techers. Let's wrap it up with good techers. Everyone likes good techers. Last question is, what are you most proud of in terms of this record? Actually, I'll tell you what, and also of the other members who we've barely spoken about the other guys.
That was actually going to be my answer. My thing that I'm most proud of is that we are the same 5 members since the off, and we have one of the strangest but most solid relationships. Like I've spent more time with these people than I have with like my family, dude. Like these people I have spent days, weeks, months on end in a confined space. We share every minute of every day with one another for months at a time. And we have never had an argument that has been anything close to significant enough that would cause us to not want to do this anymore. We bicker, obviously. But yeah, it's unreal. I'm proud that we've made it this far being as solid as we are. And I just hope that we've got another 10 years in us.
Well said. I hope so too. 20 years, 30.
Who knows?
Don't overdo it with 40 though, right? The voice will be shot, surely.
Yeah, you don't want to get to like the guy from Motley Crue.
All right, we won't go down the John Bon Jovi straight either. Okay, Tobi, thank you so much, man. Congrats on the album. I appreciate your time and giving me a little cheeky half an hour extra, and it's been an absolute thrill and delight.
No, I appreciate your time as well. It's been great.
Have a great rest of your night.
Yeah, you too, man. Have a good weekend.
See you, mate.
In a bit. Bye-bye.
That was a flipping sweet little chitter-chatter with Tobi of Thrashboat. If you want to get involved in more of my conversations, like with Bonnie of Stand Atlantic, Stuck on Planet Earth, the lads from Plains, Bong Lord, Kikapichi, Calva Louise, Wine Lips, it just goes on and on and on. I've had many a wonderful Why am I saying chit-chat? I've never said this in any of these. I'm not editing these intros and extras, okay? Go to modernrock.ca. If you want to dive into true modern rock discovery, nothing older than 2020, go to modernrock.ca. You want to support modernrock.ca? Go there, click Patreon, maybe get involved. All right? I'll leave it at that for now. Whatever you're doing the rest of your day, and as always, look after yourself. And I hope there's some smiles and fun involved in the rest of it as well, because we've got to cherish that positive. Bye-bye.